We are wrapping up 2023. Put this one to bed, move into a new one. Crew, let's ranch it up. Good day, everyone, and thanks for riding with us on this wrapping up 2023 all-new episode of the Ranch It Up Radio Show. I'm Jeff Tigger Earhart.
And I'm Rebecca Warner, a.k.a. Beck.
A big thank you goes out to our partners, Clear Springs Cattle Company and the Bred for Balance sale, Wassum Red Angus, Stockman's Livestock Exchange, the American Gelbvieh Association, Imogene Ingredients and Pharmatan, Westway Feed Products, Medora Boot and Western Wear, Dakota Cowboy, Allied Genetic Resources and Allied Feeding Partners, LivestockMarket.com, EquineMarket.com, AuctionTime.com, RFD TV, Wrangler, and this fine radio station. Now, we had to change our game plan and throw it completely out the window. We're going to kind of recap some of our stories, the top ones from 2023, but we did that last week, right?
We did go through a few.
We did go through a few, some of the highlights of 2023, and this one was a big one that came out here a couple of weeks ago and kind of rocked a lot of people in a lot of states, that cattle Ponzi scheme. And I know that the state of North Dakota has been tremendously affected by this. Numbers of over 2,000 investors in at least 15 different states in the last 2-3 years have been affected by this, and we've had a number of people ask us some questions. So we're going to take a little time. We're going to go through this step by step by step because this one is complicated, right? I mean, yeah, this is a tough one.
It's complicated, and of course, anytime you hear the word Ponzi scheme with cattle, you go, what?
Right? How does that work? It's kind of scary, right? So can you just kind of take this from the top, break it down of what's going on, and then I'll go into what exactly the company Agridime, what they were promising, kind of what happened, and I'll kind of take it over from there.
The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, which filed a civil lawsuit against the Texas-based company Agridime on December 11th, has labeled the operation a Ponzi scheme, in which Agridime was using investor money to pay existing investors and commissions to salespeople rather than using new money to do what it said it would: purchase, feed, and care for cattle to be finished and sold to consumers as beef. The SEC has issued a temporary restraining order, including an asset freeze on the company owned by Joshua Link of Arizona and Jed Wood of Texas through January 9th, pending a hearing next week on January 5th. As of September 5th, 2023, Agridime held cattle contracts required payment to investors of $123 million in principal, plus $24 million in guaranteed profits. The company, as of September 30th, 2023, had less than $1.5 million and insufficient operating revenues, the SEC complaint said.
That one just doesn't work. The math on that one doesn't work. Okay, continue.
Carl Karpinski, enforcement attorney for the North Dakota Securities Department, said there is no confirmed tally yet on investment losses in North Dakota, but he said the eventual number may be significant. He went on to say North Dakota is one of the most, if not the most, affected of the states in the nation. While the SEC complaint did not go into specifics about the cattle the company did purchase, other than specifying that defendants did not buy the number of cattle required to fulfill the company's obligations under the cattle contracts, Agridime was licensed as a livestock agent in North Dakota. Agriculture Commissioner Doug Goring announced on December 15th that it no longer will be licensed in the state. He went on to say, Agridime was licensed in North Dakota. Their renewal was pending based on issues with bonding. The actions taken by the SEC will support our denial of their license, and we will issue a cease and desist order effective December 15th to prevent further purchase of livestock.
Now that's a lot to go through right there.
It is a lot. And
a lot to swallow.
When you're talking about some very, very big numbers, you can't help but wonder how this all came about.
And that's what I'm going to try to break down and help for y'all is how they operated, okay? So I'm going to try to break this down on its very, very basic level. Now, the SEC complaint said Agridime raised $191 million from more than 2,100 investors in at least 15 states since January of 2021. Now, instead of using investor money as they advertised that they said they would do, which Beck was talking about. The SEC filing said Agridime has used at least $58 million from December 1st of last year to September 30th of this year in investor funds from new cattle contracts to make principal and profit payments to previous investors. Now, Agridime paid commissions to salespeople, typically 10% for each cattle contract sold. Did you hear that? 10%. That was the commission on it, which also was not disclosed to investors. The SEC documents say that through May of this year, commissions paid exceeded $11.1 million in total, including at least $5.6 million to a salesperson in North Dakota, $1.3 million to the owner's link, and his wife of $1.3 million. Okay? Now, by using the funds to make previous investor payments and to pay commissions, Agridime has not purchased enough cattle to fulfill its cattle contracts. Agridime's investors, therefore, do not actually invest in specific identifiable animals. Instead, the success of their investments depends on the success of Agridime's purported cattle operation, including its ability to attract new investors. That's kind of a tough one to kind of comprehend. You see how the merry-go-round has to keep going. It has to keep going. It has to keep going.
So it's kind of like that saying, rob Peter to pay Paul.
That's exactly right. That's a very good way of saying that. Now, Agridime had operations in Texas, Arizona, Kansas, North Dakota, and other states. And that's where we heard from a lot of you asking questions about this. And here's what the promises were. Agridime would sell investor cattle contracts for $2,000 per calf. The company would then promise to buy back cattle a year later at return rates of 15 all the way up to 32%. The Securities Commissioner in North Dakota, Karen Tyler, on May 24th, ordered a cease and desist order against Agridime and Link. This is how everything started to come about. The SEC complaint said Agridime sold $9 million in 18 cattle contracts to North Dakota residents since the issuance of the cease and desist order in May. Agridime also sold $1 million in cattle contracts in Arizona as well. That's where all of a sudden all this kind of came to light, okay? One of the salespeople in question from Agridime from North Dakota on December 15th was ordered to turn over all commissions received from Agridime to be deposited into an investor restitution fund and to be liable along with Agridime and Agridime's investors. We've got this whole story laid out on our website that goes ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk through all of these details. It is very, very complicated, but it comes down to there was a cease and desist order on Agridime back in May that they are not to do any business in North Dakota, for example, and they continued to do business. That's when they started being investigated, and they started looking at really what are these commissions? Were there cattle? There weren't cattle. The contracts were not being obligated of what they were trying to sell. And as you said, that hearing is coming up next week. So I'm very anxious to see what's going to come about because we did receive a number of questions from producers in Texas, Arizona, Kansas, North Dakota, and some other states that were affected by Agridime.
I know this one has many of you with your minds, your heads spinning like I am, because as producers, we are constantly trying to find a new way to do things with our operation.
Make more money.
Exactly.
Make more money.
And now it has us constantly thinking through our minds, maybe I need to rethink that paperwork. What did I do? What am I signing up for?
Well, I think it goes and it makes a priority of asking those questions. Develop those relationships with people. We talk about that all the time on the show of whomever you're working with, but to develop those relationships, ask those questions. If it's too good to be true, a lot of times it is, right?
And
but ask those questions.
We're taught in school, there's no stupid question.
Nope.
I'm going to put it clear as can be.
Nope. And
Ask the questions.
That's the reason we're bringing this one up, and we're going into such detail. Like we said, we wanted to have a little fun on this one, wrapping up the year, but this is a very important one, especially as we're going here in just a few hours. We're going into the new year, and just trying to put this on everybody's minds that as we're trying to develop those new marketing plans, we're trying to make a little bit more cash. Do your homework, your due diligence, and develop those relationships. Whew, that's a lot. That's a heavy one here. We're going to take a quick break. Coming up on the Ranch It Up radio show, talking with Jim Jensen from Lucky 7 Angus, and he's selling a group of cows. And the reason we're talking about it is we're going to have Jim on the show a lot more here in the next few months. He's got a unique program out there in the hills of Wyoming, some of the toughest country around. And he's got some cows for sale. He's taking them away from home and hauling them to Nebraska. We're going to tell you more about that coming up when we come back. Gelbvieh and Balancer. Capitalize on crossbreeding with Gelbvieh and Balancer bulls. Raise replacement females with added fertility, increased longevity, and greater productivity. Gelbvieh and Balancer females wean more pounds of calf per cow exposed. Gelbvieh and Balancer. In the feed yard, Balancer influenced cattle offer increased performance, improved feed efficiency, and have excellent carcass merit. They add the pounds, make the grade, and deliver the value. Gelbvieh and Balancer. Make your crossbreeding count with Gelbvieh and Balancer genetics. Before you purchase your next set of bulls or females, remember this. The seed stock business is about genetic improvement and customer service. Allied Genetic Resources understands this as well as anyone. Marty Ropp with Allied.
That's our charge as seed stock producers is people look at us and you've got to make genetics that work better for us. We see that charge, we understand that charge, and we're going to use all the tools we can to get there.
Allied Genetic Resources, where the mission is commercial customer success. Period. Premium Simmental and Sim Angus genetics from Clear Springs Cattle Company. Annual Bred for Balance sale February 9th in Starbuck, Minnesota. Selling 130 bulls, 60 females, an elite donor, and 5 fabulous heifers.
Travis Wolf here with Clear Springs Cattle Company. Bulls carry a 3-year breeding soundness warranty, and cost share trucking is available on all cattle. If you're in the market for profitable beef genetics that can move your herd in the right direction, check out bredforbalance.com and be sure to join us in Starbuck.
Cattle Battle. Welcome back to the Ranch It Up radio show. It is the most information packed into a 30-minute program that you can find at your All Things Ranching newscast, and so glad to be with y'all. Questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, rants. It doesn't matter. Give us a call or send us a text at 707-RANCH20. That's 707-726-2420. You can email us, ranchitupshow@gmail.com. Prowling around social media at Ranch It Up Show. Now, the opportunity to get into the top feed efficiency herd around, your chance at these genetics from Lucky 7 Angus out of Riverton, Wyoming. They're going to auction at Ogallala Livestock Auction in Ogallala, Nebraska, January 8th. Jim Jensen with Lucky 7 Angus is with us. Jim, we've had you on the program in the past. I appreciate it, and we're going to be talking a lot more about feed-efficient cattle here in the very near future. But first, give us just a little bit about this group of females that is going to auction.
Well, there will be about 175 first calf heifers, all bred to Sterling Confidence plus 804 sons for calving ease. Start calving about the 20th of February. And then there will be just under 200 head of mid-range cows, bred about the same time to Lucky 7 Angus bulls.
So why are you taking them 450 miles from home to sell them?
We're having a complete dispersion of our Oklahoma herd, spring calving Oklahoma herd, as well as our Wyoming herd, and so that's halfway in the middle. Number one, number two, a really, really good location for the kind of buyers we need, the really progressive cattlemen that know what a good cow is. And, where they're calving a little bit earlier than we need to in Wyoming, but just a better time for calving as well. We sold one of the ranches, and now we're going into a complete and total fall program. Nothing but registered cattle in the fall program we kept one ranch, sold the other ranch. They're all Lucky 7 Angus cows. They're the proven feed efficient cows. Number one feed efficient program in the world, not by accident, but completely and totally feed efficiency tested. They're raised that way, genetically modified that way, 3 to 4 or 5 generations deep. Every one of these cows has the L7 / brand right on the left side of her. Every one of them is going to have the top end herd bulls for feed efficiency, longevity, their better sickness health. It's the total L7 / program. They're not my top end registered cows that I have here on the ranch in Wyoming, but it's definitely the real deal cows.
Hey, Jim, where's a good fit for these cows?
You know, we wouldn't put them in a seed stock program. They're not going to sell with papers. These cows will work basically for anybody that wants cows to go out there and earn a living on a ranch. They're the good mama cow that don't get too big. Going to raise a calf. Cows are going to be more feed efficient. They're going to eat less, raise more pounds of beef per acre. That's kind of the track record that we have created. Not just spoken, but we have the facts and the data to back it up. We have the testimonies to back all of that up. They just simply will eat less. You know, the cattle are simply tougher because they were raised in the mountains of Wyoming. The genetics came from the mountains of Wyoming. We're finding out that wherever we go, they top the cost of gains in the feedlots. We have less death loss anywhere we go. And the feed efficiency is just absolutely impeccable. And we're not talking feed efficiency that everybody else talks about easy flesh and et cetera, et cetera. This has been measured feed efficiency using some high-end grow-safe stuff.
Jim, if we want to take a look at the cows, see what potentially could go into our herds, where do we go? How do we find out a little more info?
The cows will be at the Ogallala Livestock Auction probably 2 to 3 days prior to the sale.
Jim, we've talked a lot about feed efficiency in the past. We talked about your program, the environment of where they've raised, about the research that you've done, but tell us a little bit more about how your program is different. And that's kind of the key thing of what we wanted to bring you on the show for, is your program is very different.
Well, what's different about these cattle? It's not the numbers that are different. It's not the EPDs and the data that you see in a book. Lucky 7 Angus leads the world in the 6 economic traits that are the most profitable on your ranch. Feed efficiency, longevity, less sickness and health, better breed up, 4-year guarantee on the bulls, longevity. Those are the actual numbers on a ranch that make way more money than any EPD you can get. And we lead the industry, and these cows have every one of those things, you know, which right now we're dealing with some of the major supermarkets and grocery stores, not just in the United States, but in the whole entire world, to sell this beef. And it's not because they make more money on the ranch, which we designed them for. It's because they're now they're now environmentally friendly because they create less greenhouse emissions per pound of beef. Cows that live longer make more money on the ranch and produce less greenhouse gases. Cows that are feed efficiency do the same. Cows that have less sickness and death loss do the same. Every one of those traits are top 6 traits in the industry for the rancher's profitability, and the top 6 traits in the industry for what the consumers want in this new environment with the environmental, movement coming from the millennials in the cities. And so right now we have a lot of wind at our back to maybe get these cattle marketed. We got a lot of wind at our back that thinks that we're going to have an environmentally friendly beef product in some major superstores. And it's going to be the most demanded product on earth when we get it. But I want to caution you, we don't want you to buy these cows because they're going to have a program. I haven't got that inked yet. We got a lot of wind at our back, and I think we're going to get there. Buy them for the money that they'll save you on the ranch. That's the biggest economic thing that you're going to do, is buy those cows for how much money they're going to save you on the ranch.
Hey, Jim, some more information about your program, how you're doing things just a little bit differently. Where can we go?
If anybody has any questions of who Lucky 7 is, they can go to lucky7angus.com, go to our website. We've got a lot of information there. The world today is starting to find out who we are just because we do things a lot different, and we work harder than anybody for the customers. And you can go to lucky7angus.com and you can find a lot more about us.
Something just a little bit different. That's what I told you going into this one. You can go to lucky7angus.com for more information. The cattle are going to sell January 8th at Ogallala Livestock in Ogallala, Nebraska. You can go to OgallaLaLive.com for more information. And if you want to get a hold of Jim, you can always reach out to us. We can share phone numbers and get you in touch with each other. Coming up, we're going to talk numbers. We're going to see what the markets did last week, and we are going to put 2023 behind us. The Ranch It Up Radio Show will be back right after this.
LivestockMarket.com. We hear from them each and every week, highlighting various sales and lots. But have you taken the time to cruise the site, look around, and see what cattle are bringing? How about lower that sale expense and give Livestock Market a try? It's about the easiest way to market your stock, and it puts your product on a worldwide view. LivestockMarket.com. It's simple, and it works.
We'd like to introduce you to one of the diamonds in the rough in the Red Angus business, the Wasam Red Angus Annual Production Sale Thursday, February 15th at the Wick Sale Facility in Richardson, North Dakota. Selling 60 proven bulls and 20 top quality replacement females. They breed the best to sell the best so we can raise the best. Wasam, WASEM, RedAngus.com. Follow along on Facebook at Wasam Reds and bid and buy online at dvauction.com. Powerful, profitable, practical Red Angus cattle. We've been telling you all about Pharmatan, or tannin as some people will call it, from Imogene Ingredients, and how it battles scours. Well, listen to this customer. He's never going to go without it again.
We lost more cattle than I would hate to let anybody know we lost, but I had looked at a lot of different things, and some of the results that you told me about with the Pharmatan, I want to try it, which we did. We started out with the mineral. Last year, we did not treat any calves for scours. I am going to continue to feed tannin to save my livelihood, to save my animals. I am not willing to go through another calving season without the tannin. It's an insurance policy that I'm not going to be without.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Ranch It Up Radio Show. That time in the program, we check in with Kirk Donsbach, StoneX Financial Incorporated. Kirk, did Santa Claus bring you everything that you wanted?
Oh, Santa Claus was wonderful to me, Tigger. Absolutely wonderful.
You're on his friend list, apparently. So what happened in the markets just prior to Christmas? What happened?
Well, Tigger, as of Friday, December 22nd, January feeders closed the week at $222.90. That's up $1.70 on the week, with the CME feeder index at $219.81. That's up 74 cents on the week. That left the basis, or the difference, at a negative $3.09 versus January futures. February live cattle closed the week at $168.47.5. That's down $1.15 on the week, with cash trading slightly positive to $170 and $171, leaving the 5-area weighted average up $2.42 at $170.13. That left the basis versus December futures at a negative 5.5 cents. So those paying attention to basis will notice that the basis has came to even, essentially. The weekly slaughter was 621,000. That's down 28,000 versus last week, and 69,000 above the same week last year. Choice boxes closed the week at 292.93. That's up $1.29. Again, we need to push that up above $3. And wrap this up, March corn closed the week at 472 3/4. That's down 9 3/4 cents on the week.
Hey, I'm Shay Warner, and I'm the host of Casual Cattle Conversations. This week's topic was about setting goals as cattle producers and why it is an important component of running your cattle operation. This episode covers different methods of goal setting, how to get started, and a few of my favorite tips to help you stay accountable and on track with the goals you set for not only your ranch, but also your personal life. Listen to this quick episode by finding Casual Cattle Conversations on your favorite podcast app or by subscribing to my YouTube channel. And remember to support small creators and businesses this holiday season, even if it's just a simple rating or review. Happy ranching, folks.
I tip my hat to you, from one legend to another.
Well, by golly, we did it. Another season down. I do believe it is a total of what we've had with the Ranch It Up Radio Show has been 166 episodes.
And we're going to kick off season 4.
Season 4 is coming up.
4 years of us.
4 years that we've been going on. And did you know that I am the longest running ranching show syndicated host around?
I do know that.
Welcome aboard, my dear. Welcome aboard. So I got to ask this. Are you glad that 2023 is going behind us?
You know, there were some great points about 2023. We can't deny those calf checks this fall were pretty nice to see as we headed to the bank, right? But, you know, I joked to myself the other day. I saw a meme that said, wait a second, 2024, I haven't seen the small print yet.
Exactly. You know, everybody always says the next year is going to be our year, right? Mm-hmm. We say, I remember when you and I said that back in 2020. We said 2020 is going to be our year. 2021 is going to be our year. 2022, 2023,
2022 was good because I kicked cancer.
That is
so that
true.
kind of was a good year.
That is true. And you are officially in remission. That you can say the big R word. So all of us are very thankful for that. So crew, thank you so much for coming along with us on another season of the Ranch It Up radio show. And yeah, we'll see you again next year, same place and same time. And now that's going to wrap it up for today and this year. A big thank you from our crew to yours. First, Jim Jensen with Lucky 7 Angus. Again, those cows are selling January 8th at Ogallala, Nebraska. Shay Keister Warner with Casual Cattle Conversations. Kirk Donsbach, StoneX Financial Incorporated. And the boss lady, Rebecca Warner, a.k.a. Beck.
A big thank you to our partners, Clear Springs Cattle Company and the Bred for Balance Sale, Wasam Red Angus, Stockman's Livestock Exchange, the American Galvay Association, Imogene Ingredients, Pharmatan, Westway Feed Products, Medora Boot and Western Wear, Dakota Cowboy, Allied Genetic Resources, Allied Feeding Partners, LivestockMarket.com, EquineMarket.com, AuctionTime.com, RFD TV, Wrangler, and this fine radio station.
And crew, so glad y'all came with us one more time in this year as we ranch it up. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook at Ranch It Up Show. Our email is ranchitupshow@gmail.com. Call and text 24/7, 707-726-2420. It's 707-RANCH-20. Spread the good word and join us again next week and next year where it's always Tigger and Beck approved.
Stay ranchy and ranch it up.